Hi everyone, Kat Clay here, coming to you from Melbourne, Australia. We're in lockdown at the moment, but I thought it would still be really fun to enter the CoNZealand Masquerade. So I'm dressed as Yennefer of Vengerberg from The Witcher 3, the Wild Hunt video game. Now, The Witcher has been a series of books, it's been a series of video games, and it's now a TV series. For me, I love Yennefer's character. I think she's such a boss queen, and I really wanted to cosplay her. So I actually sewed this whole outfit except for the shirt and the shoes. I really wanted to pay attention to detail in the costuming, so a lot of this has been hand sewn, especially the pearls on her sleeves and even like the little ropes that she has on her hands. I looked at a lot of the source material in the video game to come up with my costume and then put it together based on some patterns that I found at Spotlight. See what I have to deal with when sewing cosplay? This is probably the hardest thing. It's Momo wanting to sit on all my patterns all the time. So one of the things that was actually really hard to sew in this costume is actually, I'll show you. It's this fake leather material, and it took me a few goes to get sewing with it correctly because it was really difficult and I didn't realize, but you actually need a Teflon foot in order to sew this fabric. Otherwise, your normal metal feet stick. So that was a big learning experience for me, but I also learned too that this fabric doesn't really sew well with a straight stitch. So what I did was that I did a zigzag stitch, and that worked really well because it couldn't really show up kind of the unevenness sometimes of the stitch, but I think it actually looks really clean. So as you can see here, there was a lot of hand sewing involved with this. So all these pearls are hand sewn. And this fabric here is actually really interesting. So it's the kind of fabric you would use on like a sports jersey or tracksuit pants to kind of give an extra lining or give an extra edge. But it was perfect fabric for Yennefer's costume. The other thing that I really tried to do was put detail into it that's in the costume in the game. And sorry for the cat hair that's on this costume, but I sewed this really long stitch. So that's probably like a 3.4 stitch, almost this kind of like pulling stitch to highlight that line that she has in her jacket. And you can see it up the top there as well. The buttons are also hand sewn, and they're done to mimic the buttons that are in the video game. These are ribbon loops. I probably would do them in elastic if I did them next time. As you can see, I've finished the inside of a jacket with the overlocker. I've tried to keep the seams really neat and just press these in as well so that they follow along the line of the coat. So you can see the inside of the sleeve, it's all hemmed there, and you can also see where that hand sewing has taken place for those pearls. It was a real experiment in pattern making for me. So this jacket kind of had a lot of stages in adapting this pattern to be this jacket, but I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So this collar, I made the pattern myself and cut it out and sewed it. It's actually fully lined, so if you turn it over, we can see all the lining in there. I basically stitched it up. I know it looks like a toilet seat pattern, and turned it inside out and then hand sewed up the hole. They're really finely finished. And I also made sure that a lot of the fur wasn't getting caught in the seams. So that actually is made out of a glove that I didn't make because they're very hard to sew, a glove cover that I did make, and a rope that I purchased from Spotlight and cut into the right lengths. So the pants are actually a pair of fisherman's pants. I was running out of time when I was making these, and I desperately didn't have any elastic. I had run out of fabric, and I had a lot of this leftover kind of fake leather material from the jacket. So I used my ingenuity and turned them into a very comfortable pair of fisherman's pants. Now they've got all the white lines in here because this is what's in Yennefer's costume in the video games, and I really like just adding that little detail in. I would really love to redo these pants. I'm a terrible perfectionist and can see where they're not quite working for me, but for the actual costume itself, they worked really well. And who doesn't love an elastic waistband? I'm so sorry I can't be with you in person at CoNZealand in Wellington this year. It's a real shame, but I hope you enjoyed this costume and the effort that I put into making it.